I can see the fight playing out very much like it did with Volk, okay? But Jack's bigger. Jack's he's a little bigger. He's got a different frame. He's a hard dude to try and hold down. And I think his jiu-jitsu is very underrated. He has good jiu-jitsu, which means it won't be free. The takedowns won't be free. Being on top of him won't be free. Not to mention, Jack has really good hands, and if he can keep it into that mid-range, into that distance that he likes, make it awkward. He's very good at not only punching straight lines, but punching up. So his hooks, his uppercuts, he mixes it really well. He works the body, which makes it harder to shoot on. You know, I think there's enough angles there to give Islam trouble.
Islam Jack is going to be a great fight, especially seeing Jack defend takedowns in the way that he did. And Islam, he struggled a little to take down Dustin Poirier. He didn't take him down as easily as he had taken down other guys. So I think that for Makhachev, he needs to really lock in on getting that wrestling ready to fight a guy in Jack Della Maddalena who showed great takedown defense. And, man, this dude's got some good boxing, especially when you're in tight with him. His hands are good.
Islam had an advantage when it comes to being the more powerful guy against the 145-pounder Volkanovski. It's going to be even different. You know, every pound counts in this sport. 45 to 55, there's a 10-pound difference, 15-pound difference when you're going from 55 to 70, and even more of that weight cut will come into play for someone like JDM. Weight matters, power matters, and you look at their structure, their skeletal structure. JDM is just a much bigger guy, and those shots that he's landing against Belal, if he lands those against someone like Islam, who has been knocked out in the past, I don't see him taking it in the same way that Belal can take it, just given his physical structure.
I think the Belal fight's a perfect fight for JDM. I don't know why I'm saying JDM. I'll just say Jack.
Jack, yeah.
A perfect fight for Jack before someone like Islam. Islam's going to be a lot more creative in his chaining of the wrestling.
Yeah.
But one thing I know, and I know from experience, when you have a successful, fight with takedown defense and things like that, your confidence goes to a whole nother level. And the confidence with the takedowns, and I mean, it feels like you're not even trying to defend the takedowns. That's how confident and comfortable you are in these positions. And you being comfortable and confident like that goes a long way.
He's got a point.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got a point, because Volk, we all love Volk, right? What a guy. He's awesome, right? He's just brilliant.
What a guy.
He's the man. But if you've ever been around him, he's not a very big man. He is the man, but he's a smaller man, okay?
Yeah.
And that first fight with Islam, the first one, he gave him everything he could handle. Yeah. Jack Della Maddalena is not a small 170-pounder.
I feel Islam would feel like he bit off more than he could chew once he gets in there with him, because when he puts some things on him, he's like, oh shit, I'm not standing with this guy. I have to take him down. And then he tries, gets him down, and he gets back up, or he couldn't get him down because he's a big dude. People don't realize how big Della is as well. He's solid.
Now, I think it's a good fight. I think it's a very tough fight for Islam Makhachev coming up. A bigger guy, a guy with great takedown defense, and a guy that's fought, who just won the title from somebody very similar to himself in Belal Muhammad, cardio for days, strong grappling background. I do believe that Islam has a better striking than than Belal does. So I think that would be interesting. But I think it's a very tough fight for Islam.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, Islam's a big boy, and he's a very smart fighter. I don't know. We'll see if the Craig Jones magic can pay off. Is Craig Jones really the kryptonite to the Dagestani style of fighting? That remains to be seen, but I'm here for it.
But JDM, the boxing, on point. The footwork, on point. He's going to be a hard guy to beat, even if it's Islam. He's training with Craig Jones, tying up the loose ends of his grappling holes. And if Gilbert Burns, a grappling ace, maybe not a wrestler, but a grappling ace, couldn't get it done on the ground, And then Bilal Muhammad couldn't hold him down for too long. Him being the bigger guy over a guy like Islam, and Islam's a big dude. I have a hard time believing that Islam's going to be able to just control him. He's going to be forced to stand up and strike. If Volkanovski could have done a good job in such a short amount of time in their first fight and make it that close where some people still think that Volk won, I'm one of those guys.
I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is going to find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's going to be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So, I mean, he is, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason, so you got to respect that, but don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
I think JDM, dude, if JDM punches his lights out, that would not surprise me by any stretch of the imagination. It's just, part of what makes this exciting is what is Islam going to be at 70? I'm looking forward to finding out.
It's crazy for me to think about just how good Jack Della Maddalena could get if he's only 28 years of age. I mean, there's just such a a fluidity and athleticism to what he does that, the notion that Islam Makhachev, Kenny, is just going to move up a division and somehow dominate someone like Jack Della Maddalena, I just don't see that at all. I don't know who's going to be favored. Maybe name recognition-wise, Islam Makhachev would be favored. But, Kenny, Jack Della Maddalena figures to be a huge problem here.
If near 40-year-old Poirier with a false hip is walking you down in moments of round 4, in your fight of round 2, in your fight that was a very competitive round, I thought Makhachev was up 3-1 going into the 5th, so I'm not going to act like it was 2-2 or anything like that. I actually thought Makhachev could have got the 2nd as well. But I just think if JDM has those moments, this is a different sized person. This isn't Dustin Poirier, 5'8", Dustin Poirier, pushing 40, false hip. This isn't in his prime. Best you can get, Jack Della Maddalena.
Poirier had some moments, landed some good shots, and Jack has that and more, and is a much bigger, stronger guy at 170 pounds. I think it's going to be a very interesting fight between Islam and Jack. And I think that's how Jack should feel. He should feel like, hey, you're coming up to my weight class. I know you were the great at 155. All that is fantastic, but now you're in the big boy league set.
I just wonder what Makhachev would look like as a welterweight. It is a big step up from one weight class to another, and he is big for this weight class. But I also, McGregor's a good example of when you kind of shift through gears in weight classes. It changes the way that you move, right? And it also changes your kind of tone and your attitude. McGregor as a featherweight was like feral and lean on the scales. But by the time he got to welterweight, he was like rubbing his belly and laughing, and it was a different kind of energy. And I'm not saying that would be Makhachev, of course, but just sometimes the discipline that he would have to get him down to 155 and the extra conditioning he would do is partly what makes him so formidable. And I wonder if moving up to welterweight and giving himself that extra 15 pounds to kind of just be. He's going to gain some muscle mass or even some additional weight that he may not necessarily need and might actually impede him in a 5-round fight, especially.
And look, you guys know how much of a homer I am, but this fight with JDM is not a gimme fight. Everyone keeps talking like it's a gimme fight. This is not a gimme fight. JDM proved how damn good he was against Bilal. This is not a gimme fight. So I want people to stop talking like this is going to be some gimme fight. This is not a gimme fight. Islam's going to have his hands full from beginning to end in this fight for all 5 rounds.
And I found myself thinking, man, Jack is big.
Mm-hmm.
Is Islam moving up a weight class? Bilal wasn't even close on a lot of those takedowns.
Yep.
I felt like Poirier made it tough at times. I know he got kind of 50-45 up to the point he got finished, but he was able to get up off the ground. He defended some takedowns. He was able to land some shots. He was able to cut Islam. Like he was able to push Islam. And so I just thought like, okay, well maybe Jack Della Maddalena is like a a bigger, stronger, younger, maybe better version of Poirier, which makes it interesting.
Yes, with Islam potentially coming up into the division now, I mean, it throws a wrench into things because, for one, I don't think, let's not take anything away from JDM. Like, I've already said that. Like, everybody, let's stop sleeping on JDM. You know, this guy is good. So let's stop just thinking, oh, Islam's coming in and Islam's going to take his title and Islam's the new champion. Let's stop thinking that. I think it's an intriguing fight. I think it's a really, really good fight, and it's a tough matchup for both guys.
Folks, it's a different ball game wrestling somebody a weight class up. Now, when you really get into the elite of the elite, international wrestling, Olympics, world level, guys don't change weight classes much. Bubasar Saitiev is the greatest freestyle wrestler of all time. He's deceased recently under mysterious circumstances. Read about it if you want. He competed at the world level, you know, Olympics and world championships, the same weight class. It shifted slightly because they changed weight classes around, but at the same weight class his whole career. Why? When you move up, it's way different. And a really good wrestler becomes a middle of the road guy because the weight is such a factor. When you shoot in on a guy and they hit you with those hips and they have a natural 20 pounds on you, it's different.
But I'll tell you what, don't bet your house on Islam Makhachev getting the job done, because if I'm Jack Della Maddalena, what do I want as the perfect warm-up fight? Do I want somebody that trains with Islam, that kind of even looks like Islam, that has the same style as Islam, that's bigger than Islam, that maybe has better cardio, that's stronger, that I've just beaten and picked apart? He's got better boxing. He stopped all of Bilal's takedowns. He picked him apart all day long. When he was taken down, he got back to his feet. I'm not saying that he's going to smoke Islam Makhachev. I'm just saying, if you're Islam Makhachev, you better up your game, buddy, because that is not a given for anybody.
Poirier only hit him once in the first round, and the first jab he took, when he got the takedown afterwards, he was like wincing and like rubbing his iron. I just feel like he's not used to taking damage. He's not used to being in tough fights with someone pushing the pace. And he's been knocked out before. So, listen, and Jack's got size on him. But Bilal's the perfect warm-up fight if you're going to fight Makhachev.
And I like this fight a lot. I like it a lot because, you know, they both move good on the feet. They both move a lot. Body kicks. You can definitely see Islam go for a double leg takedown, uses judo, his wrestling. And how would Jack Della respond? Jack Della's crisp on the feet as well, with his hands and straight punches. They're both big 170ers, and I'm excited for this fight.